Tattooing is a medical procedure, so everything needs to be completely sterile before you start. It's quite similar to being a general practitioner. So you would scrub your hands and set up a totally sterile, clean environment for each client. So when I get to work, usually I come in, I prep my station, choose the machines that I'm going to use. There's a lot of plastic. I wrap everything in cling film. I wrap everything that can be wrapped in plastic. I create barriers around everything so that we don't cross-contaminate between clients, and we also don't contaminate the stuff that we're using a lot less. So it means a lot less cleanup later. So yeah, I'll get in, I'll set up my whole station, make sure that I'm happy with everything, make sure that everything is just clinical, clean. And then I get around to designing, I guess, like to the design side of things. I suppose there's a lot of different like types of tattoo you do. I mean, if you're doing custom work for somebody, then you start off with a small consultation. They show you their ideas, they talk to you about what they want to say or why they want to get the tattoo. They might show you references of other tattoos that they like, or other tattooers, or your own tattoos that they like. They might bring photographs of things they want to incorporate. Yeah, like a 15-20 minute chat. Try and get on the same page, talk about what works, what doesn't work, and have an idea. And then I take all that away. Usually I spend my evenings or my mornings before I start tattooing, working on designs for people. The bigger the project, obviously, the more design time there is. So I guess that would be custom tattooing. Then there's obviously walk-in tattooing, where people are just going to walk into the shop and go, hey, have you got space for a small tattoo today? Or a medium-sized tattoo, whatever that is, like something that's going to take an hour or two maybe. And in those kind of scenarios, you just have to sit and draw, you just have to sit and put something together. And obviously time is of the essence for you and for the client. They don't have the whole day to sit around and wait. So then you think on your toes and you design really quickly. Try and get something together as quick as possible so that you can get it on the client and get on to the next one. For a custom client, like let's say, for example, I'm doing a half sleeve. If I'm doing a half sleeve, I'll usually spend an hour or two on an evening doing my, like, just reference researching, finding good references to use if it's something complicated. So I might do that like a week before the time, just so that I've got some ideas bouncing around in my head and I've got something that I can think about during the week. And then usually over 1 or 2 evenings. It depends how difficult the piece is. It depends. Sometimes I get stuck and I'll work until 11 o'clock at night, and then I can't think what to do with the piece, and I need to step back and have a look at it on a fresh day. These days, like, ink is pretty standardized. Like all your black is carbon now, so we don't get those old sort of like green colored tattoos from the 50s or the 40s or whatever. Like everything is carbon, so when it gets old, it gets like more of that sort of bluish hue, like almost like a charcoaly kind of feel. All black ink is carbon suspension, a mixture of water and alcohol. And then tattoo pigments these days, everything is vegan friendly. It's basically pigment, like a heavy pigment load in a suspension. And the suspension, again, it's glycerine, water, alcohol. So every ink company is slightly different into what they make it up with. But yeah, there's a lot of good brands. I like to think of myself as quite versatile, so like I've done a lot of things over the years, and tattooing in South Africa, you didn't get to really be fussy. You kind of did whatever came through the door. So I learned a lot of different techniques over the years, or I tattooed in a lot of different styles. Nowadays, I would say I tend towards 2 styles mainly. The one would be kind of realistic black and gray. And then the other one, I guess you would call like illustrative black work, sort of like a neo-traditional kind of black work style, mostly black. I mean, I like doing color when I do color, but I don't necessarily do a lot of color because the more of one style you do, the more people are going to ask you to do what they see in your portfolio. It's like people are not going to ask you to do crazy things that are not on your Instagram or on your website. So because I started doing a lot of black work, I primarily do black and grey tattoos now. Like I don't use loads of color. But yeah, I kind of feel that if you stick to one or two styles, you're going to be really good at one or two styles. I mean, like I spent the first part of my career doing everything, but it kind of makes you less strong in everything. Like I'm versatile, but nowadays I've honed in on what I actually want to do, like the kind of tattooing that I want to do. So, and it shows, I think. You get a lot better at it just doing one thing. Every tattooer is going to tell you like a slightly different process. For me, I just stick to like basic biology. I'm always open-minded when I work with new tattooers and different tattooers to see what techniques they use. Or if you see something going wrong with one of your clients, then it obviously makes you question, like, was it something you told them to do? Was it something they did on their own? But I've kind of worked out like a nice method. Like healing a tattoo, we call it 2 weeks. It's about 9 or 10 days. It's 2 weeks if something goes wrong and you get a tough scab on the tattoo. But it really is basic, good hygiene and basic biology. Just mitigating that first set of plasma that comes out. That's basically your first scab that comes out, the wet scab. We catch that with either cling film, or these days we're using a second skin like a burn plaster to catch the first sort of layer of blood that's going to come out there. Wash that off. And once you've washed that off, it's all just about cleanliness. You're not going to get a thick, hard scab anymore. Like in the old days, you would go to a tattoo shop, they would tattoo and they'd just let you walk out the door. Not necessarily tell you anything about how to take care of it. So I'd like to think healing's come a long way from people's understanding of what we need to do to look after tattoos. But it's common sense mostly. Look, I don't know, I guess everybody's different. We always, I think the great thing about tattooing is that it's never a dull day. Every day you're working with different people. It's a very intimate industry in terms of that you're putting a permanent mark on somebody for life. There's a lot of trust involved. And I guess a lot of mistrust as well. Like you're dealing with every single character you can imagine, like from society coming in to get a tattoo. It's potluck for the tattooer. Some days if it's a walk-in, it's potluck for the client as well. It's two completely different energies getting stuck in a closed space for an amount of time. There's a lot of pain involved. So we are always fascinated when people look at their tattoo and yeah, that's cool, thanks. It's like, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I mess it up? But generally, my clients are happy. I have a lot of regulars. I have a lot of people who keep coming back. Like if you do a really meaningful tattoo, like sometimes people will cry when they see the tattoo because it's so beautiful. I get to tattoo a lot of really cool people. I would say 80% of the people that I tattoo are just super rad. Super happy to get tattooed, super easy to get along with. I consider myself very lucky.